Rich mindset versus poor mindset. Have you ever wondered why two people can start from the same place, but one becomes wealthy while the other stays stuck? It's not always about luck, it's not even about intelligence. Most of the time, it's about mindset, the way they think about money, opportunity, and life, and in today's video, we're going to explore the biggest differences between a rich mindset and a poor mindset. I want you to listen carefully and ask yourself, which mindset do I have right now? Because once you see the difference, you'll never look at money the same way again. Welcome to Wealthy Life, the channel where we break down money, business, and personal growth into simple steps so you can escape the rat race and build true financial freedom. If you're serious about creating a wealthy life, stay until the end of this video, and don't forget, after watching, share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know which mindset you relate to most. Point 1, Short-term versus long-term thinking. Let me start by asking you a question. When you get your paycheck, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? Is it, what can I buy right now? Or is it, how can I use this money to grow in the future? This single question reveals more about your financial future than almost anything else. Because here's the truth, a poor mindset is focused on the short term, paying bills, buying wants, solving today's problems. A rich mindset, on the other hand, is focused on the long term, building assets, creating freedom, planting seeds today that will grow tomorrow. Imagine two friends, let's call them Alex and Ben, both make the same salary, $2,000 per month. Alex, with a short-term mindset, spends almost everything he earns. He pays rent, buys the newest phone on credit, eats out 4 nights a week, and thinks, I work hard, I deserve to enjoy life. At the end of the month, he has maybe $50 left in his account. Ben, on the other hand, has a long-term mindset. He also pays rent and buys food, but before spending anything else, he sets aside 15% of his income for savings and investing. Instead of buying a $1,200 phone, he keeps his current phone and invests that money into a skill course in digital marketing. Instead of eating out 4 times a week, he eats out once and cooks at home the rest. Fast forward 5 years, Alex is still living paycheck to paycheck, with no savings and a mountain of credit card debt. Ben, meanwhile, has grown his skills, doubled his salary, and built a small investment portfolio worth $20,000, same income, completely different results. Why? Mindset. Short-term thinking is natural. Our brains are wired to want immediate rewards. Psychologists call it present bias. That's why so many people say, I'll start saving tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Rich mindset people train themselves to delay gratification. They ask, what will this decision look like in 5 years? They're not robots, they still enjoy life, but they balance enjoyment with planting seeds for the future. It's like the story of the marshmallow experiment. Kids who resisted eating one marshmallow right away and waited for a second one later ended up more successful in life. Why? Because they learned the value of patience, discipline, and long-term rewards. Why people get stuck in short-term thinking? Maybe you're thinking, that sounds great, but I barely have enough money to cover bills, how can I think long-term? That's exactly the trap many fall into. When you believe you don't have enough, you stay stuck in survival mode. You focus on rent, bills, food, and there's no room to think beyond today. But here's the secret. You don't need a lot of money to start thinking long-term, you just need to shift your perspective. Even saving $10 a week is a long-term mindset. Even reading a free book instead of spending on entertainment is an investment in your mind. The amount doesn't matter, the mindset does. So, how can you move from short-term to long-term thinking starting today? Here are 3 practical shifts. 1. Ask the 5-year question. Before every big purchase, ask, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, think twice. That $200 impulse buy could become $400 or $500 in investments. 2. Create a future fund. Even if it's $20 per month, set aside money that you promise yourself not to touch for short-term wants. This fund is not for emergencies, it's for growth, investing, business, education. 3. Shift from consumer to creator. Instead of only spending money, ask, how can I use this to create more income? For example, instead of buying a new gaming console, invest in learning video editing. That skill could lead to freelance gigs that earn far more than the console ever could. Let me be real for a moment. Short-term thinking feels good now but costs you heavily later. Think of Alex again. 5 years of living short-term didn't just keep him broke, it stole his opportunities. While he was busy keeping up with trends, Ben was building freedom. That's the hidden cost. Every short-term decision you make is stealing from your future self, and one day, you'll wake up and realize you've been working for 20 years but have nothing to show for it. But here's the flip side. Long-term thinking compounds, like planting a tree. The first few years may feel slow, but once the roots are deep, the growth is unstoppable. Imagine if you start today, even with small steps. In 5 years, you could have a growing investment account. In 10 years, maybe a rental property or a side business. In 20 years, true financial freedom. And it all starts with one choice: to stop solving only today's problems, and start building tomorrow's solutions. So let me ask you again, the next time you get paid, will you think, what can I buy? Or will you think, what can I build? Because the truth is, wealth doesn't come from how much money you earn, it comes from how far ahead you're willing to think. Point 2, fear of failure versus learning from failure. Let me ask you something real. How many times have you stopped yourself from trying something new because of one little thought? What if I fail? Maybe you wanted to start a side hustle but thought, I don't know if I'm good enough. Maybe you thought about investing, but the fear of losing money kept you stuck. Or maybe you've had an idea in your heart for years, but you've never acted on it, because of that heavy fear of failure. If that sounds like you, you're not alone. In fact, most people live their whole lives this way, and that is the poor mindset at work. Here's how the poor mindset views failure. As proof that you're not good enough. They believe failure is shameful, embarrassing, the end of the road. So what happens? They avoid it, they stay in their comfort zone, they never risk, never try, never stretch themselves, and because of that, their life never changes. The poor mindset says, if I fail, it means I'm a failure. The rich mindset says, if I fail, it means I just learned something valuable. Wealthy, successful people don't fear failure, they use it, they treat it like a teacher. Thomas Edison tried over 1,000 times to create the light bulb before he got it right. When asked how it felt to fail so many times, he replied, I didn't fail 1,000 times, the light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That's the mindset shift. Failure isn't the end, failure is information, it's feedback, it's part of the process. Every rich person, every entrepreneur, every investor you admire, they've all failed. The difference is, they didn't stop there, they took the lesson, adjusted, and tried again. Let me share a story. Sarah worked a normal office job. She always dreamed of having her own business, so she started selling handmade jewelry online. At first, she was excited. She created a website, posted on Instagram, told her friends. But after 3 months, she sold almost nothing. Most people in a poor mindset would quit right there. See? I knew it, I'm not good at this, I failed. But Sarah didn't stop. Instead, she asked, why didn't it work? What can I learn? She realized her photos were low quality, her marketing weak, and her pricing off, so she improved her product images, took an online course in digital marketing, and adjusted her prices. 6 months later, her shop took off. Within 2 years, she replaced her 9 to 5 income completely. Here's the lesson. Her first attempt was a failure, but because she learned from it, it became the foundation for her success. If failure is so powerful, why are people so afraid of it? It comes down to 2 things. 1. Ego. We care too much about what others think, we don't want to look stupid or embarrassed. 2. Conditioning. In school, we're taught that mistakes are bad, you get punished for the wrong answer. Nobody teaches us that mistakes are how we learn. The rich mindset breaks free from both. They understand that other people's opinions don't pay their bills, and they rewire their brain to see mistakes as steps forward, not steps back. So how can you start thinking like the rich when it comes to failure? Here are 3 steps. 1. Redefine failure. Stop saying, I failed, start saying, I learned. Instead of asking, Why me? Ask, what can I do better next time? 2. Fail small, fail fast, don't risk everything at once, test small ideas, fail quickly, and use the lessons to grow. The faster you fail, the faster you succeed. 3. Collect failures. This may sound crazy, but try to collect failures. Each one is proof that you're trying, stretching, and growing. Every successful person has a long list of failures behind them. Let's be real, avoiding failure feels safe, but it's actually the most dangerous choice, because if you never try, you guarantee failure. You fail by default, you fail by staying the same, and years later, you'll look back and realize that fear stole your future. But if you embrace failure, something incredible happens. You start moving, you start learning faster than everyone else, you build resilience, confidence, and wisdom that no book or class can give you. Failure stops being scary, it becomes fuel. Imagine if Sarah had quit after 3 months, she would still be stuck in her office job, dreaming. Instead, because she embraced failure, she built freedom. That's the rich mindset. So let me ask you right now, what's one thing you've been afraid to try because of failure? What if you looked at it differently? What if instead of asking, what if I fail, you asked, what will I learn if I try? Because failure is not the opposite of success, failure is part of success. Point 3, working for money versus making money work. Let me start with a simple question. Right now, do you work for money, or does your money work for you? Most people instantly say, well, of course I work for money, that's just life, and that's exactly the poor mindset at play. The poor mindset believes the only way to earn is by working harder and longer. If they want more income, they think, I need more overtime, I need a second job, I need to grind harder. It's the endless loop of trading time for money. And here's the truth, no matter how hard you work, there's always a limit. You only have 24 hours in a day. The poor mindset says, if I want more money, I have to work more hours, but the rich mindset says, if I want more money, I need to make money work for me. Wealthy people understand something powerful. Money is not just something you earn and spend, money is a tool, a worker, an employee. When you put money into assets, investments, businesses, real estate, it doesn't get tired, it doesn't take weekends off, it doesn't call in sick, it keeps working for you, day and night. That's the key difference. The rich mindset asks, how can every dollar I earn bring me more dollars? Let me give you a story. Tom and David both work the same office job, making the same salary. Tom follows the poor mindset. He spends most of his paycheck, and whatever is left, he keeps in a savings account that earns almost nothing. When he wants more, he works overtime. David, on the other hand, has a rich mindset. Instead of spending everything, he saves a portion and invests it. Even if it's small at first, he buys stocks, learns about index funds, and eventually puts money into a small rental property. 10 years later, Tom is still grinding, tired, stuck in the same job. David? He has built multiple streams of passive income. His investments pay for his lifestyle. He works because he wants to, not because he has to. Same job, same starting point, two mindsets, two completely different futures. Now, let's be honest, a lot of people already know they should invest, but they don't. Why? 1. Fear. They're scared of losing money. Remember point 2. Fear of failure keeps them stuck. 2. Lack of knowledge. They think investing is only for the rich or complicated experts. 3. Instant gratification. They prefer spending today rather than waiting for long-term growth. And here's the trap. By avoiding investing, they guarantee they'll always be working for money. So how do you start making money work for you? 1. Educate yourself. You don't need a finance degree. Start small, read books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, follow trusted channels, learn the basics of compounding, assets, and cash flow. 2. Start small. Start now. You don't need thousands of dollars. Even $50 a month in an index fund compounds over time. The point is to get started. 3. Think assets, not expenses. Before buying something, ask, will this put money in my pocket, or take money out? The poor mindset buys liabilities. cars, gadgets, luxury clothes. The rich mindset invests in assets, businesses, investments, skills. For reinvest, don't just spend. When your money makes more money, don't blow it all, reinvest it to build a snowball effect. That's how the wealthy grow wealth over decades. Imagine two people each save $200 per month. One keeps it in a bank savings account earning almost nothing, the other invests it in an index fund with an average 8% return. After 20 years, the saver has about $48,000. The investor? Almost $120,000, and after 30 years? Nearly $300,000, from just $200 a month. That's money working for you. That's the rich mindset in action. Breaking the cycle of working for money. Here's the truth: if all you do is trade time for money, you'll always be stuck, because time is limited. But once you learn to make money work for you, your income has no limit. Your money keeps growing while you sleep, while you travel, while you spend time with your family. This is why wealthy people seem like they're always ahead. It's not just because they earn more, it's because their money earns more. So ask yourself today, are you living like Tom, working harder and harder just to stay afloat? Or are you ready to think like David, letting money become your employee, your worker, your tool for freedom? Because at the end of the day, rich people don't work harder for money, they make money work harder for them. Point 4, spending versus investing in yourself. Here's a simple but powerful truth: the greatest investment you will ever make is in yourself. But sadly, this is also where the poor mindset and the rich mindset are worlds apart. When people with a poor mindset have extra money, where does it go? It goes into things that give short-term pleasure but no long-term return: a new phone they don't need, expensive clothes just to look good for others, nights out, parties, entertainment, subscriptions they barely use. Now, I'm not saying you should never enjoy life, that's not the point, but here's the trap: if all your money only goes into consumption, you stay stuck exactly where you are. The poor mindset asks, how can I spend this money to feel good now? The rich mindset asks, how can I use this money to grow my future? Wealthy people understand this. The best ROI, return on investment, is not stocks, not real estate, not even business, it's self-development. When you invest in yourself, your skills, your knowledge, your health, your network, the return is unlimited. Because no one can ever take that away from you. You lose money, you lose a business, you lose an asset, you can always rebuild. Why? Because you have you carry the mindset, the skills, the resilience that make wealth possible again. That's why the rich mindset treats every dollar as potential fuel for growth. Let's bring this to life. Lisa just got a $500 bonus from her job. She has two choices. Choice 1, she buys a new designer handbag. She feels good for a while, posts it on Instagram, but a month later, the feeling fades. The bag doesn't bring her more opportunities, more money, or more growth. Choice 2, she invests the same $500 into an online course to upgrade her digital marketing skills. Within 6 months, she uses that skill to land freelance projects, making an extra $500 every single month. Now think, which choice actually changed your future? That's the difference between spending and investing in yourself. But let's be real, many people hesitate to invest in themselves. Why? 1, they don't see immediate results. Buying a new phone feels good instantly, reading a book or taking a course takes time before it pays off. 2, they underestimate their own value. They think, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable, so why bother? 3, they fear wasting money. What if they pay for a course and never use it? What if the seminar doesn't help? And so, instead of betting on themselves, they keep betting on distractions. Here's the good news: investing in yourself doesn't always mean huge amounts of money. It's about consistent, intentional growth. 1. Books. For $10, $20, you can learn what took experts 20 years to master, knowledge at your fingertips. 2. Courses and workshops. Online platforms make education cheaper than ever. Skillshare, Udemy, Coursera, endless opportunities. 3. Health, a gym membership, better nutrition, regular exercise. Your body is your greatest asset. If you're sick or weak, you can't build wealth. 4. Networking, attending conferences, joining mastermind groups, connecting with mentors. The right people can open doors no amount of money could. 5. Coaching and mentorship. Sometimes one conversation with the right mentor can save you years of mistakes. Each of these is not an expense, it's an investment that compounds over time. When Steve Jobs dropped out of college, he didn't stop learning, he started auditing classes he actually cared about. One of them was calligraphy. At the time, people thought, what a waste of time, but years later, when Apple created the first Macintosh computer, Jobs used his knowledge of typography to design beautiful fonts that set Apple apart. That one unnecessary class helped shape one of the most iconic brands in history. This shows how investing in yourself, even when it seems random, can create opportunities you can't predict today. Let me ask you this: how much have you spent in the past month on things that added zero long-term value? Coffee, clothes, entertainment, gadgets. Now imagine if even half of that was redirected toward your growth. Where would you be in 1 year? 5 years? 10 years? The poor mindset consumes, the rich mindset creates. The poor mindset spends to look rich, the rich mindset invests to become rich. So, here's the big takeaway: every dollar you spend is either building your future or just feeding your present. Ask yourself, am I buying another distraction, or am I investing in the person I want to become? Point 5, security versus growth. Let me ask you something: when you think about your future, what do you value more, complete safety, or the chance to grow bigger? Because this single choice separates the poor mindset from the rich mindset. The poor mindset values security above everything else. They want a safe job, with a steady paycheck. They want a safe savings account, even if it barely grows. They want a safe lifestyle, not too risky, not too adventurous. And look, there's nothing wrong with wanting stability, but here's the trap: if all you ever chase is safety, you will never break free, because safety often means limiting yourself. Safety keeps you stuck in the comfort zone, the same paycheck, the same routine, the same life. The poor mindset says, at least I won't lose, but the truth is, by never taking risks, they're already losing. They're losing time, opportunities, and the chance to create wealth. The rich mindset understands something different. True growth is never safe, it always requires stepping into the unknown, starting a business. Risky, investing in real estate. Risky, even asking for a promotion or moving to a new country for opportunity. Risky. But here's the difference: rich people don't avoid risk, they manage it, they study, they learn, they take calculated risks, not blind gambles, and because of that, their world keeps expanding. The rich mindset says, if I want more, I need to get uncomfortable, I need to embrace growth, even if it feels risky. Imagine two co-workers, John and Sarah, both earn the same salary. John plays it safe, he stays in his company for 20 years, never asks for more, never invests, never tries anything new. His life is stable, but flat. Sarah. She also values security, but she balances it with growth. She invests in herself, takes a calculated risk by starting a side hustle, and eventually invests in real estate. Not every move works out, she fails a few times, but over 20 years, she has built multiple income streams. While John is still in the same cubicle, who do you think actually feels safer now? It's Sarah, because her growth gave her true security, financial freedom. Now, let's talk about why so many people cling to safety. 1. Fear of failure. They're terrified of what people will say if they try and fail. 2. Comfort zone addiction. Stability feels good, why risk being uncomfortable? 3. Cultural conditioning. Many of us are taught, get a safe job, don't take risks, don't stand out. For short-term thinking, they don't realize that playing it safe today can cost them massively in the future. And that's why the poor mindset keeps repeating the same cycle: work hard, save little, retire tired. So, how do you move from a security-only mindset into a growth mindset? 1. Redefine risk. Risk isn't just losing money, risk is also staying stuck, risk is missing opportunities. Start seeing inaction as a bigger danger than failure. 2. Start small. You don't need to bet everything. Start with a small investment, a small side hustle, a small skill upgrade. The point is to build your tolerance for growth. 3. Learn before you leap. Don't take blind risks. Study, read, learn from mentors. The more you know, the lower the risk becomes. 4. Think long term. Ask yourself, will this risk help me 5 or 10 years from now? If yes, it's worth considering. Think about Elon Musk. When he sold PayPal, he could have played it safe and retired rich forever, but instead, he reinvested almost all of his money into Tesla and SpaceX, both considered insanely risky at the time. He nearly went bankrupt, but he believed in growth, and now he's one of the wealthiest people on the planet. Was it risky? Absolutely, but without taking risks, there would be no Tesla, no SpaceX, no transformation in entire industries. Here's something most people don't realize: chasing security often creates insecurity, because if your one safe job disappears, what happens? If inflation eats away your safe savings account, what happens? But when you focus on growth, multiple streams of income, new skills, investments, you create real security, not the illusion of safety, but the foundation of freedom. So ask yourself today, are you choosing safety, or growth? Are you living like John, clinging to the comfort zone, hoping nothing changes? Or like Sarah, stepping into discomfort, failing forward, and building lasting wealth? Because at the end of the day, safety might protect you in the short term, but only growth will set you free. Point 6. Linear thinking versus leverage thinking. Here's a powerful question to reflect on: do you believe success comes only from your own hard work, or do you believe success comes faster when you use leverage? Because this single belief decides how far you'll go in life. The poor mindset thinks in a straight line: if I want more money, I must work more hours; if I want more results, I must put in more effort myself. This is called linear thinking. It's a one-to-one exchange. 1 hour of work equals 1 hour of pay. The problem? Just like we discussed earlier, there are only 24 hours in a day. Your energy, your health, your focus, all limited, and if your income depends only on you, your growth is forever capped. That's why so many people get stuck. They believe the only path forward is to work harder themselves. The rich mindset, however, understands the power of leverage. Leverage means using tools, systems, people, and money to multiply results without multiplying effort. It's about working smarter, not just harder. Think of it like this: with linear thinking, you're rowing a boat with your hands; with leverage, you've built a sail, the same effort, but multiplied by the wind. Types of leverage wealthy people use. 1. Financial leverage, using other people's money through loans, investors, or partnerships to grow faster. For example, real estate investors use bank financing to buy property, rather than waiting decades to save enough cash. 2. Time leverage, delegating or outsourcing tasks to others so you can focus on higher value activities. Wealthy people hire teams, poor people try to do everything alone. 3. Technology leverage, using systems, software, and automation to save time and scale. Think about social media, AI tools, or e-commerce platforms. 4. Network leverage, leveraging relationships and connections. One introduction from the right person can open doors that years of grinding alone never could. That's the rich mindset, asking, how can I multiply my effort through leverage? Michael and David both want to start a side business selling t-shirts online. Michael uses linear thinking. He designs the shirts, prints them himself, packs them, and delivers them by hand. He works tirelessly, but because he does everything alone, he can only sell a few shirts each week. David uses leverage thinking. He designs a few shirts, but outsources printing to a supplier. He sets up an online store that handles payments automatically. He uses social media ads to reach thousands of people at once. Michael sells maybe 20 shirts a month. David sells hundreds. Same idea, but David built a system of leverage. Now, let's be honest, if leverage is so powerful, why don't most people use it? They think, no one can do it better than me, so they do everything themselves. They see financial leverage only as dangerous debt, not as a growth tool. Hiring help, using software, or building systems feels like extra expenses, so they avoid it. They can't see beyond immediate effort, so they don't imagine how leverage creates exponential growth. This is exactly why the poor mindset stays stuck. They work harder and harder, but they're rowing with their bare hands while others are sailing with the wind. So, how do you move from linear to leverage thinking? Identify what only you can do, spend your time on the highest value activities, the things that create the most impact, and delegate the rest. Start small, hire a freelancer, automate one task, use a tool that saves you 5 hours a week. Small leverage builds confidence. Reframe debt. Not all debt is bad. Borrowing to buy liabilities is dangerous, but borrowing to build assets is leverage. Build networks. Surround yourself with people who have skills you don't. Collaboration creates leverage you could never achieve alone. Invest in technology. Every tool that saves you time or multiplies your reach is leverage. From email automation to AI tools, these are multipliers. Think about Jeff Bezos. He didn't pack every Amazon box himself. He built systems, teams, warehouses, and technology to handle billions of transactions. If Bezos had stuck with linear thinking, Amazon would still be a tiny online bookstore, but with leverage, it became one of the biggest companies in the world. Ask yourself, how much are you slowing down your growth by trying to do everything alone? Maybe you're scared to hire someone, maybe you're scared to invest in tools, but every hour you spend on low-value tasks is an hour stolen from your future growth. The rich mindset understands this. Your time is the most valuable resource, and leverage is how you multiply it. So let me leave you with this. Are you rowing with your bare hands, exhausted, barely moving forward? Or are you ready to raise a sail, catch the wind, and let leverage carry you to places you could never reach alone? Because in the end, success doesn't just belong to the hardest workers, it belongs to the smartest builders, the ones who understand the true power of leverage. So, let's wrap this up. Today, we went through 6 powerful mindset shifts that clearly separate the rich from the poor. 1. Short-term versus long-term thinking. The poor look for quick wins, while the rich think in decades. 2. Spending versus investing mindset. The poor see money as something to spend, the rich see it as a tool to grow. 3. Income focus versus asset focus. The poor chase paychecks, the rich build assets that pay them forever. 4. Security versus growth. The poor stay where it feels safe, the rich step into discomfort to grow. 5. Working hard versus working smart. The poor rely only on effort, the rich create systems that multiply their effort. 6. Linear thinking versus leverage thinking. The poor think one-to-one, the rich think one-to-many. Now here's the key, none of these shifts happen overnight. Changing your mindset is like training a muscle. It takes time, awareness, and daily practice, but once you start flipping these mental switches, your decisions, your habits, and eventually your results, will begin to transform. Remember, wealth is not just about money, it's about freedom, choices, and creating a life you don't need a vacation from. If this video gave you value, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which mindset shift do you feel you need to work on most right now? And of course, if you're serious about building wealth and designing a better life, make sure to subscribe to Wealthy Life. This is where we dive deep into practical strategies, timeless money principles, and the psychology of success. Thank you so much for watching. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep shifting your mindset towards abundance. I'll see you in the next video.